Hi, this is Ingrid coming to you from the Caldwell Senior Center for our Zoom coffee chat. And today we're going to be doing a craft. It's called ICAN. And I literally, seriously mean that. You can do these things that I choose. Some are very simple and they're fun. And ICAN stands for Ingrid's Craft Assembly Nook. So with that out of the way, let's get started. We are going to make paper clip bookmarks. And if you picked up a craft kit, you have several, I think maybe 4 colored paper clips. And they were just chosen randomly. All of the ribbons you received were just some ribbons I had on hand at home. And part of the reason I did this was to make you realize just how simple this can be to do. You can even use a silver paper clip, just as long as it's the larger size, and any kind of ribbons that you may have at home. And we're going to talk about that a little later. So let's get started and put one together right fast. And I'm going to move you down to where you can see my hands. So hang on. Okay, can you see my hands pretty good? I think you can.
Yes.
Okay, all I did was go to the dollar store. I actually went inside somewhere. Wow. Which was different for me. And I bought these. They were $1 for 40 clips. So that's pretty economical. We can all probably splurge for that. And then, like I said, I just had a bunch of different ribbon scraps at home. So the first thing I want you to do is separate your paper clips and your ribbons and kind of decide what's going to go together. I gave you lots of white ribbons, mainly because that's what I had the most of. And some of you received a pink polka dotted one. You can see that was the last of my scrap. I think just about everybody got one of those. So pick out 3 or 4 that you think match one of the paper clips. You think it kind of goes together, and we're gonna put that together. I'm gonna go with kind of a teal color and an orange, and maybe a white. And I'm going to choose the, none of these match real well with what I chose. Maybe I'll just go with the white paper clip. So you're going to be putting the ribbons on the end that is not going to clip onto something because we're making a bookmark. So this is going to have to clip onto a book like that. So we want to use this end that's not part of the clip. It's the smaller end. And we're just going to take our first ribbon. I'm going to put the white one in the middle. Doesn't matter which you start with, and you can always take them off and move them around. This is a simple knot. Some people call it it looks like a cow hitch if you do any wrangling, I don't know, or hook up your cow to lead him around, or it's called a girth hitch. But you simply put that end where you folded it over in the middle through your paper clip, and then you're going to take the 2 loose ends and put them through the loop and pull it tight. You've done this probably a zillion times. I don't think it's new for most of you, but it makes a pretty little knot with tassels. So we're just going to do that with each piece of ribbon. Find the middle. And we're going to put it through the end, and I'm going to go on this side of my white ribbon this time because I want the white one to be in the middle. So you thread it through and put the little tassels through and give them a good pull, just like that. One of the reasons you have pretty plain ribbon is that all the cutesy ones that I had were kind of wide. And if you use wide ribbon, it can be done, but it doesn't work as well because this is a very small area to work with. But you can actually do, 4 or 5 of these if you want to on one paper clip. No, I just told a story. I was going to put it on the wrong side. Okay, so you just put it through the loop. and pull it. So some of you may be way ahead of me by now. If you're struggling, you know, you can work on this at your own time. Sometimes our fingers don't work like we really want them to, or they hurt, and you may have to just take your time. But I think they're cute, and the more you add, the cuter it is. And there's this one. Another one we might take, I'm going to take the pink one, and I'm going to do all the pinks and purples that I have. And we're just going to do the same thing. Start on the narrow end of the paper clip, fold your ribbon in half, put the middle of the ribbon through your end of your paper clip, put the tassels through the loop that you just made, and pull. And that's all it is. So as you're doing that and working on yours, the purpose of this was just to give you an idea of something cute to do. And when I started working on it yesterday, I thought, well, it's really simple and really kind of, I don't know, is anybody going to love this? And then I thought, what all could you do with this idea? And it just blossomed and blossomed. So as you work, I am going to share some ideas with you and some things that my crazy brain came up with. You know how I am. Anybody that knows me knows that when I get on a subject and start brainstorming, it could go anywhere. And sometimes it does, anywhere and everywhere. So, see this one? Now that is really cute. And I'm going to put this same color on the other end to kind of tie it all together. But as I was doing these, I thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't they be cute if they were themed? And I thought, you know, let's say your grandson just got accepted to UNC Chapel Hill, and we all know their colors are blue and white. What if you found a ribbon, maybe a little bit larger than this, that had Tar Heels on it, or had the ram, the mascot, heads or something, or just blue and white, and you did them up a paper clip and you bought them a book. Maybe they're a history buff and it's the history of UNC Chapel Hill, the University of Chapel Hill, and you take your paper clip and clip it to that book and wrap it up as a graduation present and say something like, I made this little Tar Heel clip so that you'll always find your place, always know you have a special place in Grandma's heart. It could be anything, you know how sentimental I am and how I think about all these things, but that's just one of the thousands of ideas. So next I thought about, why do we have to stick with ribbons? Like, this is all I had, and they were kind of boring. They're all solid colors. They're not crazy and groovy and neat looking. But what if we took, I have 1,000 scraps of fabric from making masks. This would be perfect to use to make these. So I took my scraps of fabric in all kinds of different colors, and I just cut thin little, these scissors are not good for this, but you'll get the idea. I cut thin little strips, the size similar to these ribbons, and I did 2 at a time. So I cut 2 and I put them back to back so that the design on the fabric was on both sides. And look what I made, y'all are gonna love it. So I did the little scraps of fabric, and look how fun they are. And they're kind of crazy, and they're coming apart, which makes them look kind of fringy. And I just thought, that is so cute. And if you wanted to do that, and if they're uneven, guys, you can always just take them and trim off make them even if you like. But I kind of like them crazy and whatever. But I thought, wouldn't this be a great gift for, maybe you have a friend, it's going to be their birthday, and you just treasure their friendship, and maybe you find a book. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a book about friendship. And this just happens to be a book that my grandmother gave me back in 1987. And my very, very, very favorite poem that she used to read to me is in here. And I want to share it with you guys while you work. Um, the author is Edward Cunningham. I don't know who he might be, but he wrote a poem called Ah, Friendship, and I'm going to read that to you right now. Everybody needs a friend from Dusseldorf to Derry. Fee needs Phi, and Foe needs Fum, and Tom and Dick need Harry. Dr. Jekyll had no fun till he met Mr. Hyde. Barnum needed Bailey, and Bonnie needed Clyde. Snow White helped her little friends to keep their cottage tidy. And guess why Mr. Crusoe coined the phrase, "Thank God it's Friday." Livingstone would still be lost if Stanley weren't a pal. Without Apollo, Aphrodite'd be a lonely gal. Oz the wizard couldn't cope without his crystal ball. And what if Minneapolis weren't hooked onto old St. Paul? Napoleon, sighed Josephine, was quite a friendly fella. Columbus claimed, "I'd sure be sunk without Queen Isabella." Who could chat with Tarzan the way that Cheetah did? And think of old Butch Cassidy without the Sundance Kid. Dick needs Jane and Jack needs Jill and Tom is Jerry's chum. Need we mention Mutt and Jeff and Tweedledee and Dum? Sherlock Holmes and Watson were as thick as any thieves. And don't forget that Adam was a bosom friend of Eve's. Like ham and eggs or curds and whey, good friends go well together. They're salt and pepper, fish and chips and stripes forever. Yes, friendship is a fact of life, from Shreveport to Shanghai. As Orville said to Wilbur, it's the only way to fly. So can't you just imagine taking this little, I'm going to get you back up with me. Can't you just imagine taking this little clip that you made, whether it's the ribbon one, and if it's a birthday gift, you might want to consider finding a ribbon with a balloon on it, but you don't have to. But I think what's important is clipping it to something that means a lot to you and the little note that you put with it. And every time they keep their place, you know, they'll know. Or Valentine's Day. Think about Valentine's Day. You could have one with little hearts, pink and red and white, and one has little hearts on the ribbon. And you could attach it to a little book for your granddaughter or whoever, and just say, this is to keep your place and always know you have a place in my heart. Nice, sweet, cute. So no matter who it is, you can probably find a book and a ribbon to go with it. Maybe it's somebody who needs a daily planner and you clip one on there. Maybe it's a teacher and you find one with apples on it or ABCs. Maybe it's somebody who loves Nicholas Sparks, like April's daughter. and you clip one to that. Maybe it's an avid gardener and you find one with carrots on it or garlic on it, and they've wanted to grow garlic, and you make one and stick it on there, and I don't know, think of something witty to say. The main thing is it can be for a happy occasion, or it can be that you're thinking about somebody that's going through a rough time too. I know this hits home with a lot of people. Maybe you've got a child that's struggling with who knows what, or a grandchild, or a friend at church, or somebody you know through your volunteer work. And, you know, make them a little paper clip and get them a book that's something near and dear to their heart, or some devotions, any kinds of things like that. This is one of my favorite ones. I don't know if anybody's ever read that. If you'd like to borrow it, you can. But one of the things written that I thought was cute, it says, "Go, Granny, go. The astonishing tale will send you looking for your hiking boots. A wonderful story, wonderfully told." So I can't remember how old she was, but she was neat. So then, you know, my brain went from gifts for people and making bookmarks that go with those books and whatever, to back to my little clip I made with the scraps. And this goes with ribbons too. When my oldest son was a baby, this was the thing to have. And if you don't know what this is, it is a taggy. And all taggies are a piece of fleece with different ribbons that have different textures around the outside. And I was thinking about that because, they sell taggies everywhere. Well, you don't want to give a paper clip with anything on it, probably to a baby, of course. But then it made me think about who else has busy hands and needs something to do. So it went a whole different direction. And I ran across my favorite book that I give to a lot of people who have babies or small children. And it's about this older lady. And if you can see, I'll get it close as I can. She's looking in the mirror. What do you see when you see me? And when you think about this, the first time I ever really thought about it was in the movie Titanic. Maybe some of you saw that movie. And they zoom the camera in on the older woman's eye. And you're just getting like this incredibly close-up view, and it's nothing but her eyeball and the wrinkles around her eye. And then you begin to see what she sees, and she sees herself as that young woman boarding the ship. And it's just the most poignant, I don't know, part of the whole movie to me. I loved that. But anyway, this book takes you through being older and how young children see you, and things that are scary that you don't think are scary. Walkers are not scary to you. Quad canes are not scary. Wheelchairs are not scary, but to some little children, if they've not been around them, they are. And it teaches them to see the person inside, not just the person that is on the outside and has disabilities now and wrinkles and gray hair and looks different. And there gets to be a point in the story, if I can find it, I just wanted to share it with you. And you can kind of see, and it says, I swam in the Olympics, Agnes. No, I swam in the Olympics. Agnes tipped up her chin. I didn't win, but when I arrived home, thousands of people were waiting at the docks to welcome me. They cheered and waved. A famous actor sent me flowers every day until I told him I was already in love with Harold. Agnes no longer looked at Katrina. It was now Katrina who stared at Agnes with new eyes. So I saw this book and it made me think about growing older and some of the things that we deal with. And of course, there's dementia. And a lot of people who are further along in their dementia have busy hands. They want to do something. And a lot of times they're taught, caregivers are taught to give them socks to match, give them laundry to fold. They just sit there and kind of play with it. Sometimes they actually fold it, sometimes not. But I thought if you had busy hands, and I keep everything, I don't throw anything away. It's one of my bad faults. This is a plastic ring that a scarf came on. And I thought someday I'm going to have use for that little plastic ring. So I thought, what if we tied ribbons or little scraps of fabric? Because a lot of us have that just from whatever. And, an old shirt that has become too holy to wear or whatever, but you don't want to give it to anybody, that makes great fabric scraps. But wouldn't it be neat to put your ribbons around most of this ring and give it to that person to play with, especially just to keep their hands busy while they're sitting there, because a lot of ribbons have ridges. I know this one has ridges. Some are very silky and satiny, and some even have little, these don't, but some have little knots in them. There's all different kinds of ribbons, but I thought that would be a great thing to take to somebody to maybe occupy them for a little while that might be struggling with dementia. That's pretty much it for our craft. I don't know if you finished yours or not. I'd love to see if anybody did, but I don't know if anybody's on the screen. April did. You did it. That's great. But anyway, I think you can use any kind of little scrappy items to get the job done. And it's a lot of fun and it's real easy. And you can make it something bigger than it actually is. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all next month. We're going to make paper flowers, and they're not just ordinary paper flowers. This is going to take some folding and patience, and they just turn out beautiful, though. You'll love them, absolutely love them. So until then, see you later.